Rawls.
The May 27th, 2025 regular meeting of the Everett Public Schools Board of Directors is hereby called to order. We're going to begin with the land acknowledgement. Student Representative Covarrubias.
We acknowledge the original inhabitants of this area, the Snohomish people, and their successors, the Tulalip tribes. Since time immemorial, they have hunted, fished, gathered on, and taken care of these lands and water. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and water. In Everett Public Schools, we strive to create equitable outcomes and build a culture of inclusive belonging for all students, teachers, staff, and community.
Thank you. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and unless you're in a uniform, please remove your hat.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the Secretary please call the roll?
President Mitchell.
Present.
Vice President Herman.
Present.
Director Evelinsky.
Present.
Director Adkins.
Present.
Director Jackson Lawrence.
Present.
Student Representative Kink. Student Representative Covarrubias.
Present.
Thank you. That takes us on to adoption of the agenda. Dr. Saltzman, were there any changes to the agenda after it was published?
Yes, Madam Chair, there was one change to the agenda, item 2.01, the land acknowledgement. The presenter was updated. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any objection to the meeting agenda being adopted by general consent? Seeing none, the agenda is adopted by general consent. That takes us on to our favorite part of the meeting, which is recognitions. Tonight is our April Core Value Champions. Ms. Weinberg.
Good evening, President Mitchell, Board of Directors, and our Dr. Saltzman, and our student representative. Thank you for the time tonight to celebrate our April Core Value Champions, where we are highlighting the core value of learning. Each school in our district has chosen a deserving student to honor for this core value. Their names are displayed on our website, and we're very proud of each of them. This evening, we are grateful to have representatives from 3 of our schools to be honored tonight. The principal of each of those schools is with us, and they will say a few words about our student who is being recognized. We'll start with Blythe Young from Emerson Elementary, then we'll have Michael Takiosha from Cascade High School, and then Tina Wood from View Ridge Elementary. Once you're done, we'll have you stand over here and wait till everyone has been recognized, and then we'll take a few photos, and families, you're welcome to take photos at that time as well. So, Blythe, if you'd like to come forward.
Good evening, President Mitchell, Board Directors, Dr. Saltzman, student representatives, and guests. I am Blythe Young, proud principal of Emerson Elementary School. Thank you for the opportunity to celebrate one of our outstanding students tonight. It is my honor to introduce Cora Lagunas, a 5th grade student at Emerson Elementary School, as our school's core value champion. Cora exemplifies the core value of learning through her dedication to growth and improvement. She approaches every academic challenge with persistence, always eager to deepen her understanding and develop new skills. Her transformation this year into a confident and capable learner reflects her strong commitment to lifelong learning. Cora's love for learning inspires those around her, showing her classmates what it means to stay curious and work hard. Her positive attitude and determination help create a classroom culture where effort and growth are celebrated. By modeling a genuine passion for learning, she uplifts her peers and contributes to a thriving learning community. Please join me in celebrating Cora as Emerson Elementary School's Core Value Champion. Congratulations.
Good evening. Good evening, President Mitchell, Board Directors, Dr. Saltzman, student representatives, guests. I am Michael Takayoshi, principal of Cascade High School. Thank you for the opportunity to celebrate one of our most exceptional Bruins tonight. David, come on up. It is my honor to introduce David Krantz, Cascade's core value champion for learning. David has consistently exemplified the kind of student who cares about learning, arriving at each class every day with an infectious, positive energy for learning. For example, this is what some of David's teachers had to say about him. He helps to better our classroom community and motivates his peers and staff by telling them that it may only be Tuesday, but we can do this. David always shows up with a smile and a willing attitude. He tackles any challenge with enthusiasm and this person used this term, David smile that always brightens the day. His positive outlook and overall enjoyment of life and learning are contagious. He always helps to uplift everyone in class. And I love this line. A teacher said this, he would be anyone's cheerleader on their bad days. When I think of what it truly means to reflect and live out our district's core values, particularly a value like learning, I think about how important it is to recognize that it is not just the learning itself, but the impact that is important. And I think that the impact that David has had on others is that for the people who have worked closely with him, like any champion, he has made them better learners. Please join me in celebrating David Krantz as Cascade High School's core value champion for learning.
Congratulations.
Yeah, let's come back because we've got about 10 minutes so so our student is 10 minutes away, so we're going to put a pause in this and we'll come back to it. So if you all want to have a seat and then we'll take pictures in 10 minutes. But don't leave. So this will take us on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Saltzman.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Board of Directors, and to the public this evening. And it'd be an honor to wait 10 minutes for our student to come. So I'll do mine. Hopefully they'll show up. I'd like to update our community tonight on some items that are of importance. I want to update you on an exciting change coming to Everett Public Schools. As you know, at the end of July, we will transition to a new student information system, or SIS, called Synergy. It is a student information system that will be the backbone of school operations. It will track such things as student enrollment, class assignments, academic records, as well as medical records. Our current system has served us quite well, but now it's time to update. This will require staff to use multiple tools to get the job done, more systems in the tool, and we will have training for our employees. So it's a really good process that's beginning now as we train our staff on this. Synergy will simplify and modernize our process. So I want to make sure everybody understands we're time to modernize what we're doing and also make it really easier to use. It combines many tools into one platform. So we'll be in one platform. And you only have to learn one system now. This means more efficiency and more time focused on our students. For parents, they will no longer use the Home Access Center. They will use Parent View. Here's Parent University tonight. We'll have a video and show you a little more about Parent View. So if you could please share the video so we could share it to our public, please.
Parent View and Student View are your gateways to staying connected with your child's education. Whether you're a parent or a student, these tools offer a range of features to keep you informed and engaged. With Parent View, you can access real-time information about your child's attendance, grades, course history, and more from anywhere. Easily submit your child's absences and upload doctor's notes and other documentation. View your child's grades, schedules, and course history so you can stay on top of their path toward graduation. Online enrollment of new students is integrated into the same tool to make it easier to use. This summer, parents will receive a code to activate their Parent View account and can use both the mobile or desktop apps to access their students' information. Stay informed with automatic email notifications for low scores, attendance incidents, or discipline communication. If you have multiple children in the district, Parent View allows you to access all of their information with a single sign-on. The Student View app allows your child access to many of the same features as Parent View. Stay on top of assignments, missing work, and class schedules all in one place. It's easy to use, convenient, and keeps you connected to your child's education like never before.
Thank you, and I know that'll start at the end of July, so that concludes my report this evening. Thank you to the public and to the board.
Thank you. So we'll move on to board comments, and I will start with Student Representative Covarrubias.
Well, it's almost the end of the year, which is, I think, it's everyone's highlight, and especially seniors, because it's finally that time for them to move on and have new beginnings, and I think that's like the very main thing of today. For me, I think it's like, I have a very brief report for that, because now we're all doing our final events for seniors, giving them their last goodbye, and I think that's just the main thing we have going on.
Yeah.
Director Lawrence?
Yes, so last week, the Rotary Club of Everett had their awards ceremony at the Everett Civic Auditorium, and we partner with Everett Public Schools. We gave out approximately $391,000 to 61 students. The counselors spoke about each student, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful evening. And I'm so proud of all the students and what they're doing. It's really fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't been up to too much, but last week I got an opportunity to be a panelist at the recent Washington Student Achievement Council meeting at Everett Community College. They had me on a panel regarding basic needs and credential completion, and was just really excited to have that opportunity to get to share with the council on especially how we bridge the gap, I think, between high school and college. Making sure that we have that warm handoff, just making sure that, higher ed and K-12 are talking with each other. That seemed to be a huge theme of that meeting, and I would love to share with you guys more information about that stuff at a later time, but that's it for my report.
Thank you so much. Director Ovalinsky.
Sure, not much for me. I did go to the scholarship award meeting or event at Cascade. And more than just Rotary, I would echo that, but I would also say there are just so many organizations and people in the community that care very deeply about our students and award them with tremendous amounts of resources for their next steps. But that's it. That's all I got, short.
Well, off what you were saying, just end of the year, excitement, celebration, there's a lot going on. So it is a fun time of year. A few things since our last board meeting. I was able to attend the WASA Snow Isle Region 109 Awards recognition. And this is an annual recognition through Washington Association of School Administrators for Everett Public Schools. The Director of Human Resources, Mary O'Brien, our student leaders, Deborah Vasula-Kaba and Will Kink, and former school board director Caroline Mason were each honored for their leadership and contributions for our school district. So that's always a wonderful event over at Snow Isle Tech. Also last week, I was able to take part in the Everett Public Schools Foundation's Prize Patrol. So similar to the scholarships, this is where each year they surprise a student at each of our 4 high schools with a scholarship. And part of the fun is that those presentations, we go into the classroom and are joined by the students' parents, all of which is a surprise to them. So it's a very fun event. So thank you to the Everett Public Schools Foundation for all the work that goes into awarding those scholarships and all of the donors that contribute to the work of the foundation throughout the year. The foundation is such an important partner in our district. And then lastly, I had the opportunity last Thursday to volunteer at Jefferson Elementary Schools for their safety patrol. The fifth graders who normally do safety patrol throughout the year, which is assisting in the student in the parking lot, making sure kids are safe, getting back and forth at drop-off and pickup times. Those fifth graders, they were away at fifth grade camp for a few days, and the PTA had requested additional help. So it's always a pleasure to get to spend time in our schools, talk with students and parents. And so just a big thank you to Miss Gill over there and the fourth grade students at Jefferson who are stepping up for safety patrol while the fifth graders were away at camp. So I hope they all had a fantastic time and made some lasting memories. And that's my report.
Thank you. And I think spring is just such a very busy time, and I have been very busy with work, so my district has been mostly virtual for the past couple of weeks. I'm so glad to finally be back here in person. Did we waste enough time? Okay. Or somebody's walking in, maybe? Do I see reflection? I wasn't keeping track of time, so I don't know how close we are to 10 minutes. Okay. Well, if you want to speak, and it will be recorded, so then they can see it. Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised.
Maybe. I appreciate your flexibility. All right, good evening, President Mitchell, board directors, Dr. Saltzman, student representatives, and guests. I am Tina Wood, proud principal of View Ridge Elementary. Thank you for the opportunity to celebrate one of our outstanding students tonight. It is my honor to, well, I can't introduce her, but to share about one of our students, Holly Calicott, a second grade student at View Ridge Elementary, as our school's core value champion. Holly is a dedicated student who consistently embodies the value of learning by striving each day to learn, grow, and improve. She has shown great learning skills by asking questions, showing her work, and responding to feedback. She asks for opportunities to dig deeper into a topic or explore something she's curious about. She adds on to what other students say to extend the conversation or adds a new idea which keeps the curious spirit of learning alive. She also shows courage in sharing her mistakes and how they have helped her learn. Holly inspires peers and staff alike with her ability to model for others what it means to be a focused and passionate learner. Holly truly reflects what it means to live out our district's core values. Please join me in celebrating Holly as View Ridge's core value champion.
She might be arriving. Somebody's arriving.
All the good things about you.
All right, so can all of our core values champions and their principals please come to the front? And Mom, we know that sometimes having these meetings at this time, what Ms. Ferris just said is recorded, so you guys can look at it later. So sorry, thank you for being here.
Any family who wants to come up, feel free to take a
And
picture.
we'll stay up here as long as the cameras are going.
Keep smiling.
Congratulations.
All right, it is a beautiful evening, so our awardees, their families, and the staff that were here to support them, you can go enjoy your evening as we move on to our next section, excuse me. That takes us to public comment. Dr. Saltzman, are there any requests for public comment this evening?
Yes, Madam Chair, there are.
Okay, yes, I do see several. So the school board sets aside 15 minutes during regular board meetings to hear from our constituents. We do this because we value public input and we want to hear and understand the perspectives you bring to the table. Each speaker has 3 minutes. As board president, I have the responsibility to ensure that our board meetings we conduct business in public. We do this in an orderly, productive, and respectful manner. We welcome ideas and opinions presented in that same manner. Thank you for helping me with this responsibility. The entire board welcomes you to this meeting. It is important for you to understand how this portion of the board meeting is conducted. We will call you to the podium to speak in the order which you signed up, and we will actually have 2 online speakers tonight, so we will do the in-person people first and then the online people. All comments are recorded, so the board will have access to everything said tonight. Repetition is not necessary, and it cuts into others' time to speak, so there are several people on the same topic. And we do only have 15 minutes to get through everybody, and one of the online people is potentially on a different topic. The public comments part of the agenda is for the boards to listen to what is being said and not for debate or discussion. Board members will not respond to individual comments. And then lastly, please remember that your words have impact, and you, not the school district, are responsible for what you say. We caution all speakers that it is possible that your statements could violate the rights of others under various laws, including laws protecting privacy and laws prohibiting defamation. If you're unsure of the legal effects of your remarks, you should speak to independent legal counsel. But in any case, we ask that you help us be a model of respect and inclusiveness for our community of our students. So I will begin with the order in which you signed up. Again, so this is for Katie Scott McMiniman. If I said that right, please correct me when you come up. And she is a resident of the district, about the LifeWise program. And on the podium, you will see 3 lights that will show up. The green light means that you have 3 minutes. The yellow means you have 30 seconds left, and the red means I will excuse you.
Okay.
So you may begin.
School board, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm the parent of a student in Everett and 2 younger children who will enroll here in the fall of 2026. I was also a teacher for nearly a decade, and to this day, school continues to feel like a second home to me. At our school, a school with an incredibly diverse student body and a staff who works tirelessly to build community, I have always felt welcome and safe. My child loves school and feels the same way. Unfortunately, the introduction this year of LifeWise Academy, a program that operates under the Release Time for Religious Instruction, or RTRI, Supreme Court ruling, has cracked that unified, safe, and loving community. 2 days of every week, a bright red LifeWise bus parks in front of the school. On those days, dozens of students wearing matching red shirts miss valuable social, emotional development and physical activity during lunch and recess in order to board the bus and leave campus for religious instruction. 40 minutes later, they go right back to instructional time in their classrooms. Our office staff, who is already stretched thin, must manage the sign-in, sign-out procedures and permission slip verification for all these students, 2 days, every single week. Other staff are called upon to find missing students who don't appear on time to catch the bus, which happens on occasion. Some of these students are 5 years old. After all, students who remain at school miss their friends and wonder what they're missing out on by not donning the red shirt and getting on the red bus. In other parts of the country where LifeWise is more established, students who remain at school are left in an unsupervised study hall or given movie days so that the 75% of their class missing art that day don't get behind. LifeWise is disruptive, and this is by design. The stated mission of the organization is to disrupt public education. LifeWise is divisive. In the current political climate, we should be seeking ways to come together whenever possible, and LifeWise is literally dividing our children in the middle of the school day. While I understand that the matching shirts are to build a sense of belonging within the community they are building, they also work to exclude everyone else. When students are taught during the public school day that to be saved, they must believe in the Christian God, they implicitly learn that their friends and classmates who believe in a different God or no God at all are doomed. While it may not be the intention of the LifeWise team, teaching this value during the public school day divides our children. This isn't the spirit of Everett School District, or at least not the one in which I want my children to learn. I support religious freedom, and I support a parent's ability to pick up their own child to attend significant religious events like a bar mitzvah, Ash Wednesday service, etc. But I also support freedom from religion in public school, and I deeply object to my child or any other elementary-age child being the mission field of this organization. To be clear, I would object to any organization, religious or secular, that attempted to remove large groups of students in the middle of the school day. Scouts, sports, and swimming all happen outside of the school day, and RTRI programs should as well. I implore you, directors of the Everett School Board, to rescind the permissions of RTRI programs to operate here. Thank you.
Thank you. And so our next speaker is Jennifer McClellan about the same topic, and if you want to come up, you have the same 3 minutes, but just because we do have several, please don't be repetitious as much as you can. So watch for that green light, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today. I'm a parent at Emerson Elementary, a PTA member, and a school volunteer who has seen firsthand the detrimental effects of Everett's current RTRI policy. Our school, once a welcoming place of inclusion, has devolved into a hostile educational environment where othering and fear has been allowed to fester. My second grader burst into tears when he learned that the RTRI program would pull kids out of school. He feared knowing which of his classmates might not want to play with him anymore because our family doesn't share the same beliefs, or because some of his closest friends are from a queer family. What if they tried to make him choose between his friends? It's over 50 kids now and just one program. What happens when it's multiple programs with multiples of 50 kids? Where will all the buses park? Where will these multiple sets of kids go when waiting to be checked out? Where will all the multiple sets of adults wait for them? What if a child who couldn't wear their program shirt that day for whatever reason gets on the wrong bus? Here's a small set of facts. The 1952 Supreme Court case, Zorek versus Clausen, is not a mandate. It's an if-then statement. If a school district allows an RTRI program to operate, then these are the rules that it must follow. But there's no language in the ruling that states school districts shall or must allow RTRI programs to take kids out of school and bring them back during public school hours. There are multiple school districts who either didn't allow RTRI programs or, after experiencing the detrimental effects, rescinded permission. Some of them are Westerville, Ohio, Worthington, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Gahanna, Jefferson, Ohio, and even our own neighbor to the south, North Shore School District. None of them were sued. I respectfully request that the Everett School Board rescind permission for RTRI programs to operate in our school district. Please note two very important things about my request. My request is non-discriminatory and is not anti-religion. I may have strong feelings about this particular program, but the fact is I do not want any RTRI program in our district. I'm a person of strong faith, and I don't want a program or organization, even from my own faith, to pull kids out of public school during public school hours. I keep my reflections and my beliefs to myself outside of school hours, and I respect that others do the same. I believe in the sanctity of public, secular education. I support, if not demand, the guarding of the mental health and well-being of all children during public school hours. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And next we have Janine Desmarius. If I said that wrong, please correct me. And watch for the green button before you begin.
Thank you. It's Demaray. Thank you.
Oh, that's much easier. That's a lot more letters than that.
My name is Janine, and I'm here to oppose any RTI policy that allows for the predation on our young students. I am also here to give my heartfelt thanks to all of the teachers, administrators, and staff at Everett School District for their tireless efforts physically, mentally, and financially to take care of our kids, even when it comes out of their own pockets. These teachers work so hard to corral dozens of children down one path in a day to get them to learn that I think that I'm amazed every time I witness it. This RTRI policy does nothing to help students. It causes to help students. It causes unnecessary interruptions in their day. It impacts teacher and staff ability to teach and impacts other students' mental health. My question is, why was this allowed to begin with? From my understanding, the Everett School District opposed the interruption that allowed for an RTRI policy initially. What changed? Was there a threat of a lawsuit? Does anyone else think that this will end up like the Kennedy v. Bremerton case that went to the Supreme Court? I think there is a real possibility if we continue to allow an RTRI policy to take permanent effect. How much would that cost the taxpayers, the school district? If children require religious instruction, then their parents can see to that private matter on their time. Last time I checked, you can get any religious text and read it for free. There is nothing so important about religious instruction that the school day should be interrupted, the place where vital education occurs, where growth, acceptance, and equality is front and center. Additionally, I understand that there are permission slips that the parents sign to allow this release. I would hope, as a taxpayer, that there are hold harmless clauses in these permission slips. As noted daily in the news, religious institutions often have issues with inappropriate sexual behavior with children. Are these people background checked? Not that I have heard about, and they're worth about, $40 million, so I don't see why this should be a problem. The Everett School District and taxpayers should be held harmless against any legal action due to an institution that takes children outside of school during the school time. To reiterate, I am 100% against any RTRI policy. If parents want their children to have religious exposure, then they can make that happen outside of school hours. Our students, teachers, and staff deserve more respect, not less. RTRI policies are being used to gut public education, the very thing that all of you in this room and around this district are striving to make better every day for our children. Why are we letting them do this? Thank you.
Thank you. And just for the community, the RTRI that's been referenced means release time for religious instruction, just to make that clear. And our next person, Tim Firetag. Oh. And please watch for the green light.
Hi, I'm a pastor and a resident here in North Everett. First, I want to talk about the idea of what constitutes a core part of the curriculum, because that's one of the keys about the structure of the RTRI as I understand it. So the kids are missing out on lunch and recess. In looking at the clergy shirt I'm wearing, you might rightly guess that as a little one, I was a goody two-shoes. But in 5th grade, I was sent to the principal's office. And that infraction happened during lunch. I learned an important lesson about peer pressure during that lunch, a lesson that was crucial to my education as a student. A critical aspect of public education is to learn how to be part of our society, to be a successful participant in our common civic life. When kids are missing recess and lunch, they're not just missing food and a game, they're missing a critical piece of the education that is required to be an active participant in our society. So I'm concerned about that definition, that lunch is not part of the core curriculum. It absolutely is in my experience. I also share the concerns about the effect of such a program, particularly when it occurs in the middle of the school day. If the RTRI program is not to use the resources of the school district, there is no way to accomplish such a midday discharge and reintegration without significant investment of staff resources, of time and attention. Not to mention the difficulty of the teachers to reorient the kids who have been on the outing into the mindset of the classroom again. There is nothing in the Christian religion as I know it that requires religious instruction in the middle of the school day. The aims of any RTRI program can be met just as effectively in before or after school settings in ways that do not create disruptions for the rest of the school. Thank you.
Thank you. So next we have Dana Sanders. Appreciate the diversity in the spelling of last names. Yours was particularly easy.
Like the Colonel, as I say.
So just wait for that green light.
What's that?
Wait for that green light.
I'm watching here.
Right there.
It's like a buzzer. All right, so I can go? Hi, I'm Dana Sanders. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my words. I am an active participant in the Emerson community. I have 2 children who are enrolled in the program, and I am slightly the garden gnome. I have helped with planting and cultivating and watering the garden in the hours when the kids are not there, like the summer when we were closed. And during the school day, you will often see me digging in, handing kids seeds and plants and talking to them about growing things with our hands that nourish our bodies. It's something I do because I work nights, so I can be there in the daytime, which is a wonderful gift. I want to talk about 2 instances that happened recently. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the day that the release time, the program comes and pulls children out, dozens of children. We have over 50 children who leave now. And many parents say, you don't have to opt in. You can opt out. You don't have to send your kids. It doesn't impact your children if someone else's children leave. But I will tell you, there's one thing. I am a queer parent. My child has 2 moms, both my children do, and we are Jewish. And my 2 children are 2 of 5 Jewish children at our school. We might have 6 next year. They know each other because there are only 6 of us. And in Snohomish County, there are very few of us. And having a program that came in and did something like this is just not feasible. So my children know that won't happen, but they'll high-five each other in the hallways because that's someone they recognize. You put everyone in these LifeWise shirts, they all wear their bright red shirts on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for a feeling of community, so they can see each other, so they can be proud of it. And what they do, and I do apologize because it's repeating it, but what it does is it also makes it really clear who they are so that everyone else knows who they aren't. My children are not welcome at their program because of their faith, because of their culture, and because I personally am not legally allowed by their rules to work as a volunteer board member or a staff person for LifeWise, because I thought I could be part of this. Maybe I can see what it is. But I'm not allowed because I don't live a life according to their doctrine, because I am married to a woman and I am Jewish, and there are other things I could say. So I'm not allowed to be part of that organization, neither are my children. The way this impacts children who are choosing not to opt in is also evident in the classroom and at lunch. So at lunch the other day, I was there with the kids helping supervise and hanging out, and there was one child sitting at a table all by himself. Everyone else was sitting with people, and I said, you could come sit with us, and he said, we have assigned seats. So he's all by himself, surrounded by an entire empty table, because there are 3 children in his class that go to LifeWise, and they all sit there. So he was by himself, despite opting out. He was chosen to sit alone because of what someone else's family did. So, does red mean I'm done?
Yeah,
Is
it
that my
does.
time?
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
You bet.
Okay, so we are at our 15 minutes. I believe these stories are important. Are we okay to continue? Thank you. So that takes us on to Nancy Wilkinson. And Ms. Wilkinson, you'll see a green light there on your right come up.
Good afternoon. As a child, when I was in school, leaving campus in a bus meant a field trip. As a child, I think I would have been confused and disappointed to see some of my classmates get up and leave for a field trip every Wednesday while the rest of us remained behind. The weekly field trips and the special T-shirts divide the class into 2 groups. I have friends who are grappling with this situation, and that's why I'm here today. Let's leave religious instruction to the parents and to the faith community of their choosing, and stop this weekly disruption to the public school day. Thank you for taking my comment.
Thank you so much. So that takes us to Ryan Weber. So just watch for that green light.
Hello. I'm here in front of you today to express my strong opposition to the practice of removing students from the classroom for religious instruction during the public school day. The primary mission of our district is to provide a robust education, and programs that disrupt learning for some while creating division among students should not have been allowed. Even more concerning is that one of the district's most diverse low-income schools was targeted first by this program. Recent decisions by other districts demonstrate growing concerns surrounding such programs. Some have moved to prohibit LifeWise Academy from handing out candy and other items, ensuring that students are not incentivized to leave the classroom for non-educational activities. Additionally, the district has mandated background checks for all volunteers involved in religious release programs, reinforcing the need for oversight in any initiative that interacts with students. These actions highlight the inherent distractions and concerns associated with allowing such programs to operate during school hours. Beyond the disruption to classroom learning, these programs create an exclusionary environment where students who do not participate are left behind, reinforcing social divisions within the school community. Education should be the priority, and allowing external religious programs to pull students away from their lessons contradicts this fundamental goal. Public education serves students of diverse backgrounds, beliefs, and perspectives. Introducing this religious instruction during school hours risks disrupting the neutrality that is essential to an equitable learning environment. While the 1952 Zorak versus Clausen Supreme Court ruling permits school districts to authorize such programs, it does not mandate them to do so. I strongly believe that the Everett School District should reprioritize, a secular inclusive education and reject policies that may introduce divisiveness into our public schools. I urge the Everett School District to revoke approval of this divisive distraction and to reaffirm the district's commitment to secular education. Any proposals that would release students for religious or any other instruction during the school day should be declined. Preserving a focus on core academic subjects ensures that all students receive an education rooted in inclusivity, fairness, and intellectual growth. Thank you for your time and consideration. I hope the district will restore its commitment to providing a public education system that is free from religious influence during instructional hours. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, and that takes us, Jared, to our first of our two online people. The first is Adrienne Agostolini. I just butchered that, and I apologize. Bring her forward.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yeah, just could you pronounce your last name for me, please?
Agostinelli.
Thank you so much. And so you have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Adriana Agostinelli. I have a first grader at Madison Elementary. My safety concern is about the LifeWise Academy that I have found is operating in our school's district and seeks to open operations at more schools in the coming years, possibly mine. And not even LifeWise specifically, but any program that targets young children and removes them from the safety of campus. I send my child to your schools knowing she is safe and cared for. I myself have filled out the volunteer form, so I know how stringent our background check process is, and I'm on campus every week at my school, seeing how the staff and students interact. And I like knowing that there are actionable legal protections and legal repercussions for any malicious activity that may arise on campus during school hours. So for our schools to then say they are allowing any program that is not endorsed by the public school system and that the district takes no responsibility for what would happen off campus during the time that the children are with this third party makes me feel like the Everett Public School may no longer protect or care for these children. I am entrusting my children to you during the school hours. It seems antithetical to the district's stated values of providing a safe and secure learning environment for students and staff. Additionally, LifeWise states that their goal is to teach moral and character education to public school children. Our school district has already spent a large sum of money on the PATHS Social Emotional Learning Program, led by the Director of Social Emotional Learning, Dr. Brian Wallace. Also, the Second Step Child Protection Unit taught by the school counselors in class every week. These students in my child's class already know how to label their feelings and explain and solve their problems with language I never had at their age. They're in first grade. There are things I am paying money to go to therapy to learn that they already know at 7 years old, due to the lessons they are already receiving on campus. So to outsource additional lessons to any third party where they are happening without oversight and without cross-program communication to ensure consistency and effectiveness, I feel will confuse students and seems like a waste of the money spent on the PATHS program, which is evidence-based and proven effective, not just by studies, but by my own eyes. I don't feel that putting our children in potential danger or opening the school to potential lawsuits that could eat into our desperately needed funds is worth it. I just want to feel our children are safe during school hours. So I'm opposed to the expansion of LifeWise Academy and the implementation of any similar off-campus program. Thank you.
Thank you. And that takes us to our second speaker, Brianna Yorlang. Ms. Yorlang is a parent in the district. I haven't been introducing everybody. And so Jared, are you able to bring her? Oh, she's no longer here? Okay. So she is not here tonight, but her comments, Ms. Yorlang, if you do listen to this, your comments are welcome in writing. And so thank you all for being here tonight. And we will move on. I forgot to ask you originally to legislative comments. Do we have any legislative updates tonight?
Sure. Really short, the governor signed the budget on May 20th. That's it.
I meant to reach out to see if there was anything, so thank you so much. That moves us on to the consent agenda. Dr. Saltzman, have you received any questions about a consent agenda item?
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the case of this consent agenda, the superintendent's office received no questions regarding items on the consent agenda. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you. First, does any director wish to remove an item from the consent agenda and place it in the new business section of the meeting? Seeing none, is there any objection to the consent agenda being adopted by general consent? Seeing none, the consent agenda is approved by general consent. That moves us quickly along to the strategic progress monitoring, where we have a sustainability update. Mr. Fleckenstein.
Well, just a few clicks and then we're there. So good afternoon. President Mitchell, Board of Directors, Dr. Saltzman, and Student Representative. It's my pleasure this evening to give an update on our sustainability work here in Everett Public Schools. Just to reacquaint ourselves, that in 2023, the school board had approved the commitment to sustainability. And with that are 6 guiding principles of the sustainability work and objectives within Everett Public Schools. This particular update is to inform you of the work of the Sustainability Advisory Council since the last update provided to the board in February's regular meeting. For our public, if you are interested in the work of the Sustainability Advisory Council, and for our board members, we do have on our webpage the presentations and information that's provided in each of our council meetings, and in addition to these board presentation and updates. Since February, we have had our final meeting of the year of the Sustainability Advisory Council, and the agenda there is up on the screen. What was really fantastic about this particular meeting is an opportunity to kind of experience the work of sustainability within Everett Public Schools with the committee itself. And so as you can see there, we did some experiential learning about what is it like to really ride an electric bus. That was fantastic. It was not only smooth, but quiet. In addition to that, we also learned about our sustainable purchasing practices and a great update on what we're doing within procurement and our work around leadership development there to create sustainable purchasing practices. We did a Green Teams update, which I'm really excited to show you in this presentation, and then a look ahead to our meetings that we have planned for next school year. So first off, we went to our North Satellite Bus Facility, and if you're not familiar with that, it's north of the district, in the northern portion of the district along Everett Avenue. There, as you can see, we rode the bus. It was a lot of people's first experience riding an electric bus. What was most noticeable about the experience was that people could actually hear one another when they were riding the bus up there. So great conversations in addition to a really nice ride. But the picture you can see there on your right-hand side is actually one of the electric vehicles. This is one of the full-size electric buses that was just delivered about a week before we visited, which was really nice. And you can see the hood has been lifted back, and normally you'd see a giant engine there, right? But here, it looks actually quite small. And it's really the batteries and all the other equipment that helps drive the bus. It was really neat to actually see how those electric buses are built and understand a little bit more about how they operate. So in the pictures that you can see here on the left is our directors of facility and planning and our director of transportation. And what they were doing with the committee is to explain the investment that we made into electric charging vehicle stations. We have 11 actual charging stations. We don't have 11 electric buses yet, but just showing how they were installed, how they were connected with PGE's help, and also how we plug in our buses and what that looks like. What was really interesting there, as you can see in the nearest charging station, is the way that it regulates the charge. So it maximizes the way electricity flows into the buses and amongst the buses. I use a gasoline term, top off the vehicles, while creating the most energy efficient recharging possible. Got back on the bus and we came back here to the CRC for our second installment, and that was around sustainable purchasing practices. We had Executive Director, Ms. Tress, give an overview of the district's sustainable purchasing practices. Over the past year, our procurement office has focused on becoming more involved in the sustainable purchasing community. And one way that they have done this leadership is by joining Sustainable Purchasing Leadership Council, which is a consortium of district and other business operations people about sharing best practices within sustainability. By joining this organization, they can participate in webinars and trainings that can help develop and or support our sustainable practices within the procurement office. After that overview, the team reviewed our district's draft of the Code of Ethics, which you can see there on the screen, and gave us feedback and held a discussion about it. And what that really encapsulates is just understanding our Code of Ethics around making sustainability a component of the RFP, or request for proposal process. And then the committee, the advisory gave us feedback on our RFP, request for proposals process, and our forms that we use to highlight the fact that sustainability is a part of our procurement considerations. And there's Ms. Tress that you can see right there. Now this is exciting. Okay, so we've been working really hard to develop and support our schools to be able to develop green teams across the system, right? But what's really hard about that is it takes a lot of initial investment of somebody at the school to really dig into all the resources. And we found that that's a barrier to getting green teams up and running at every school more quickly. So our director of STEM, K-12 education, as you can see there in the picture, worked with their team and developed within our Canvas portal, which is the upper left-hand corner there, created a portal on Canvas for all schools to access the Green Team Planning document. And that's in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen that you see there. And you can see step 1, step 2, step 3. It's really trying to walk schools and their leaders around green teams how to become a certified green team. So reducing barriers, creating clarity, and being able to move forward next year with those teams to become all certified. And just to highlight one of those practices that we had mentioned earlier was a new for Everett Public Schools was composting. So one of the certifications that you can do, a project to develop certification, is around composting. And so now, because we have our composting program here in Everett Public Schools, K-12, now they can utilize that program and go through the certification process as a potential project that they would use. And part of that project is to have data around the use of and the volume of composting. So this is just a very brief sample of what our vendor that we use for composting, Cedar Grove, the data that we can collect and receive from them on the volume and frequency of composting that would allow our students' green teams to become certified. So really excited about how these puzzle pieces around sustainability are connecting and working together to support sustainability in our schools and student learning. Looking ahead, we have 3 meetings next year. This is for the board's knowledge and our community as well. We are always interested in people joining Sustainability Advisory Council. If you are interested, you can always contact the Facilities Capital Projects Office. I'm happy to have you join us. But we have 3 meetings next year. We have already planned their location, dates, and times, as you can see on the screen. What we are doing is the feedback we received from the Sustainability Advisory Council at the end of the year was we asked them which of the 6 guiding principles or commitments to sustainability would you want us to most focus on next year? And the ones that they focused on, I'm going to paraphrase because I'm going to read them, was around educating our students more about sustainable practices within their learning. And then the second was developing partnerships about how to support not only student learning, but develop partnerships to advance sustainability practices in the district. So, as you can see, a little bit of a combination here, some coherence around our work next year. We are going to start off at the Lively Environmental Center to acquaint, just like we did with electric buses, and earlier we talked a little bit about construction practices, to get them to see one of the great resources we are privileged to have in Everett Public Schools is the Lively Environmental Center. And that's where in particular, our K-5 students get outdoor environmental education. And in your last board regular meeting, you did see that the K-5 elementary science curriculum, it will be brand new, but we'll create that continuum K-8. And so it's an opportunity for the Sustainability Advisory to learn a little bit, not around our special property and experiences of student learning that we have here, but to start to brainstorm how the Sustainability Advisory Council can think about how to engage the right type of partnerships to support the learning of our students. So that will be the first meeting. The second meeting will be at Jackson Elementary School, which is an extension. At that time, we will have substantial construction going on, an extra envelope that has been put together, and we'll be able to look at some of the sustainability features, environmentally friendly construction features of that property, just to continue to advance our knowledge around that, about school construction and how important it is to support the learning of students, but also create a clean, safe planet. And then also the last piece there is that we'll be going back to the Lively Environmental Center right there in April, because that's when we're going to see in action what is really going on with environmental learning within the science curriculum for our elementary students when they visit the property, and to see how the district support team around science education creates experiences there. And then hopefully from that, develop a plan of how we can better support environmental education in Everett Public Schools through that property and through our science curriculum. So with that, I thank you very much for your time this evening, and I'll take any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments?
Well done. Great appreciation for everything that you and the team have done around this year. Actually, earlier today, I was on a meeting with some Sierra Club members, and I was actually showing them the website. And so that's the first thing. And so I just want to say thank you for putting all those materials on the website. I think it really demonstrates what Everett Public Schools has done around this area. One of the people on the call, there were some that are from our district, and there was also another school director that from a district that had just recently developed their own resolution around sustainability. So Everett, just real appreciation for all this. The e-buses, and again, Durham, those large buses are not ours, but I appreciate that we've been able to partner with Durham for them to go after the grants, because that was an EPA grant, correct? That
For our buses that we received, yes.
that we got at Department of Ecology.
Department of Ecology, yes.
Yeah, it's there's a lot happening around that area, and I can't wait to see also Jackson Elementary is going to have some of those features that I think we're really going to be able to basically show off on what we're doing and how new school buildings can be more efficient and energy friendly. Thank you also for the procurement code of ethics. That's also a very tangible way to show our values. Really interested in the data that we're going to be able to collect around Cedar Grove, just north of us. Did Cedar Grove, I believe all of our schools are using them.
That is our vendor, yes.
That's actually, that took a lot of work this year to get all the lunchrooms sort of up and running with that. So again, just great work. Also around lively property. I'm not sure the community knows this amazing resource we have and how we can utilize that. So not necessarily any questions, just huge appreciation for the work. And I love seeing the direction that this is going to go next year. I can't wait to see those green teams, because I was thinking about Sequoia has actually a sustainability club. We heard from ASB. I know Jackson also has Project Green and environmental club. So the interest is there for the students. That's it. Thank you very much.
Any other comments or questions?
May I make a point of privilege?
Oh, yes, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to say two things. From the beginning of Mike Gunn taking this start with sustainability, to compliment Mike Gunn, and to Mr. Fleckenstein, who just was so happy to take on sustainability when you got this new role, and a magnificent job that you've done. But you hear the kids talk about composting in the schools, so I know we've done the right thing. I know two 13-year-olds at Heatherwood that have guided the superintendent on how to compost. And I think we've done a good job. But when you hear that messaging through the district, but compliments to Mr. Gunn, who took this on, and Mr. Fleckenstein, you have continued this great energy for sustainability. And Director Herman, thank you for your comments tonight.
No, thank you so much. I think she said it perfectly. So that will take us on to section 15.0. Oh, nope. 13.0, the April 2025 financial report, Ms. Tress. Sorry, skipping ahead to students, because that's why we're here.
No worries.
But you are as important.
I enjoy this topic.
I know.
All right. Well, thank you, Board of Directors, Dr. Saltzman, student representative. Tonight, I will be providing the April financial report for the 24-25 fiscal year. We will review the district's main operating fund, the district's general funds, enrollment, revenues, expenditures, and fund balance, as well as the 4 other major comprehensive funds, which include the Capital Projects Fund, the Debt Service Fund, the Associated Student Body Fund, and the Transportation Vehicle Fund. I will begin by looking at the district's general fund enrollment. Enrollment drives over 60% of the district's revenues, and this is one measure for us to do our revenue projections and look at our financial stability around the districts. We look at this enrollment as a student annual average FTE, which differs from what we typically talk to, which is our student head count as of October 1st. This is students, we average this for as part of the calculation of how the district is funded through the state. And so it does differ from what we hear a little bit in around the October enrollment information. This is averaged throughout the year to provide our overall state funding. As we can see here, this fiscal year, our enrollment has been higher than prior year's enrollment. In addition, this year's enrollment was higher, about 90 students higher than our budgeted enrollment as well. We are not back to post-COVID enrollment levels or pre-COVID enrollment levels. However, we are gradually recovering from the pandemic when it relates to enrollment as a whole. What that means from our total overall revenue is that we do anticipate a revenue increase. Excuse me. We are seeing revenue trends similar to prior years' revenue trends and on trend to what we are expecting for this fiscal year. Our overall projections from March have increased, really driven in our state special purpose revenues, and that's primarily in our special services area, driven one by updated enrollment projections as well as two, updated information around our safety net grant. This time of year, we claim our initial part of the grant, and then as we go throughout the year, we have an update to that claim of that grant, and it was updated for a higher number, and so that is reflected in these projections. Again, as I mentioned previously, enrollment trends are following prior year trends, as you can see on the graph represented here, where we see increases in October and in April driven by our property tax collections. And those are the primary times of year we get the majority of our local tax collections. As we look at overall projections for the district, we anticipate a slight increase of about $600,000 from our March projections based on our actual spending from the prior month, primarily driven in our salary expenditures, were higher than our projections from March, slightly, and so that reflected throughout the year. Throughout the remainder of the year. Material supplies and operating costs continue to be higher than our budget. However, that is offset by our salary expenditures, which is lower, continues to be lower than our budget. This is driven by vacancy savings as well as aligning our staffing during the first 8 days of our school around the district's enrollment. I want to highlight here this expenditure trend line represents the monthly trends for the past 2 years in this fiscal year. And we don't see a typical pattern. Really, that's because we process our material supplies and operating costs on a weekly basis. And so depending on some months, we have 4 weeks or 5 weeks, depending on the month of the year. However, I do want to note that this is on trend to what we typically see throughout the year. And so it is aligning to what our expectations is for the year. Looking at overall projected ending fund balance, we are anticipating 8.4% fund balance of our total expenditures. This is higher than our adopted budget of 7.5%, and a slight increase from our overall projections from March. And I want to highlight why our fund balance is anticipated to be higher than our overall budgeted fund balance. It's driven by a few things, one which being a higher beginning fund balance. Higher than budgeted enrollment, as I mentioned before, in our overall staffing cost alignments. Any significant changes in our projected expenditures or revenues can swing fund balance significantly as well. If you look at our monthly fund balance trends, as I mentioned, with our revenues and our expenditures, they're aligned for what we typically see at this point of year. You see that they're following typical trends with that high point in October and the high point in April reflected on this graph, really driven again by our local collections from our property taxes. As we look at the 4 other major comprehensive funds, I'll begin by speaking around the district's capital projects fund. We do see an increase in fund balance if you look at our monthly trends from this year to prior year, and that's driven by the fact that we've switched how we are collecting our overall revenues for the capital projects fund. Right now, primary revenues are driven by our local property taxes, and historically we've had bonds which has funded this, so it's shifting our patterns where you'll see an increase in October and an increase in April, similar to the district's general fund as well. Appropriations are aligned, though, with our multi-year projects, and our fund balance reflects anticipated timelines for projects planned. I do want to highlight we do have a significant amount of cost remaining for Jackson Elementary, and that's one of the reasons we're reflected in a higher overall fund balance in the capital projects fund. In addition, we do have another modernization in future years, which also is part of the reason why we see a typical increase in the capital projects fund as a whole. So we have to build up the fund balance to support the major projects in future years. Looking at the district's debt service fund, this fund supports principal and interest for bond-related costs. This balance will fluctuate with bond payment schedule. We have less than $70 million outstanding from our remaining bonds, and it is sufficient to support those outstanding bond principal payments. As you can see here, the fund balance declined really last year, but kind of maintaining for the next few years to support those payment schedules overall. And as we don't have any current bonds approved by the voters, that will continue to decline unless that changes in the future. Looking at the Associated Student Body Fund, or the ASB fund, this fund balance trend line represents this fiscal year and the prior 2 fiscal years related to student activities and athletic activities. We are seeing typical trends within this fund balance, where we see an increase in that September, October, and November timeframe, really driven by the high sales of ASB cards, as well as yearbook sales and larger fundraisers that begin at the beginning of the year to support student activities throughout the remainder of that fiscal year. We'll typically continue to see this fund balance decline as we go throughout the rest of this school year. Moving to the Transportation Vehicle Fund, this fund supports district-owned vehicles. As mentioned before, we have other vehicles through our contracted service provider, and that revenue is really the majority of our transportation funding, and that's through the district's general fund. But we do have a fleet of our own buses that we get revenues related to the depreciation schedule of the vehicles that the district owns. We do anticipate revenues of about $379,000 for this year. And we have 2 buses on order, and we're anticipating to get them in June. We've had them on order for about 9 months now, and so it's a long time coming. So we think June, maybe July, of when we anticipate to receive the vehicles to utilize them as well. And then, again, that is within our overall budget as well. Thank you. Any questions?
Are there any questions or comments?
Well, Laura, can you just remind us all on the budget process leading up to when we're going to be adopting next year's budget?
Oh, yeah, no problem. So we will we'll be adopting, so the first reading of the district's operating budget is held in July 1st of this fiscal year, and then we also have a budget hearing and adoption held in August. Again, the law also requires us to post our budget online in by July 10th, and so all districts are required to do that at that point in time as well.
And then I guess I just have 2 questions. Yeah. The ASB budget, April looked like it was an outlier. Is that just timing?
It's timing, yeah. It declines a little bit for the month of May. I actually was looking at that as well, but we'll anticipate more as spending throughout the year.
Okay, but this year's not, you don't anticipate it being that much of an outlier?
Not that much at this point in time. There's things that come throughout the year. I don't anticipate more revenues coming in. I anticipate.
Well, we had lots of championships that happened in the spring.
Yes,
so.
and it's depending on when we get the invoices is kind of when we get that processed.
Thank you. And then for those buses that we're anticipating, have we heard anything about any increased cost to us because of tariffs?
Not for those, because they have been on order for so long. The costs are already set. It is, last I heard, they were in Spokane, actually. It's just waiting to get them to us. Yes. Okay, it has to go through the state process.
I don't think we have a Spokane to Everett issue. So.
Yeah. No, it's more that state, getting them certified for the state for utilization, that piece of it. So not for these vehicles. Now, I haven't heard about pricing for vehicles that we plan to purchase for next year at this point in time.
Okay.
Great question, though.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then that takes us on to what I was trying to jump for in just 2 sections. So the next one is unfinished business. There's none for this meeting. And now, the exciting information about new business. Approval of the student representative to the school board, Ms. Mundell.
All
All right, good evening, President Mitchell, Board of Directors, Student Representative Covarrubias, and Dr. Saltzman. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Cascade High School sophomore student, Alana Dewing, for your consideration as student representative to the school board beginning September 9th, 2025. Her term would end in June 2027. Math teacher and head swim coach said that Alana represents the very best of Cascade High School and the Everett community. She always steps up to help and is respected by both students and staff for her positive attitude and willingness to serve. AP seminar teacher Reed Hertig said, "What is striking about Alana's work is not just the precision of her communication skills, but her depth of thinking. She sees into spaces that are normally overlooked and guarantees profound complexity to her projects. She has a stellar and original mind." Alana shared that there are so many factors that contribute to a positive educational experience, and being a student representative and having the opportunity to contribute to something that can snowball into such a positive effect throughout the district is what she looks forward to. Alana will be a strong contributor to the board and represent the students of Everett Public Schools extremely well. At this time, I ask that the board approve the Student Board Representative Selection Committee's recommendation of Alana Dewing as its new representative. Alana is here to say a few words and introduce some guests that she has in the room with her today.
Hi everyone, I'm here supported today by my parents, Bob and Corey, and my friend Kingston. I'm honored for this opportunity to be able to represent my classmates and be a bigger part, play a bigger role in the school community. So thank you for considering me.
Okay, so I would like to propose that without objection, we approve Miss Alana as our student representative for the 2025-26 school year. Thank you so much. It is approved, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so now, next takes us to section 16.0, upcoming agenda items. Dr. Saltzman, what is planned for upcoming meetings?
Well, first of all, congratulations, and congratulations to your parents as well. Thank you for coming. Okay, at our June 3rd special meeting, directors will attend the Everett Public Schools Retiree Recognition Event. At our special meeting on June 5th, 2025, the directors will attend the Everett Public Schools Athletic Awards Banquet. At the June 10th regular meeting, the board agenda will contain the following: a recognition for the graduating student representative, the core value champion for collaboration recognition, the affirmative action plan presentation, a bond committee update, and approval for surplus equipment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. That takes us to section 17.0, executive or closed session. Tonight, we do have an executive session. The board will hold this session to hear an update from legal counsel about potential litigation involving the district. At this time, the regular meeting is recessed for approximately 5 minutes to be reconvened in executive session in the Silver Lake Room for approximately 40 minutes. No action will be taken during the executive session. 20 minutes? 20 minutes, okay. Okay, let me back up there. At this time, the regular meeting will be recessed for approximately 5 minutes to be reconvened in executive session in the Silver Lake Room for approximately 20 minutes. No action may be taken during an executive session. So we are at recess and we'll meet in the Silver Lake Room. would like to reconvene the meeting. Reconvene to the regular meeting. This concludes the May 27th, 2025 regular meeting of the Everett Public Schools Board of Directors. The meeting is now adjourned.